Hey everyone, and welcome to 121 in Flux. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we talk about movies here. Now, obviously, this is a sister show. This is the first episode of this show, and it's essentially just 1.21 gigawatts, but it's for older movies, kind of like how we have already cancelled for older TV shows. We're going to have this that we're going to do, for the most part, on a weekly basis, where we'll just do older stuff, stuff we want to watch, stuff we want to revisit, stuff we want to see for the first time. And
Things that will be timely based on upcoming new releases.
there will be some, yes, there'll be some stuff that's picked because there'll be a new one coming out soon, kind of thing. This isn't necessarily that. This first episode is going to be about the original 1954 Godzilla, and we do plan on doing all of the Godzilla movies over a time span. That doesn't mean we're going to do them in a row, though. The next episode won't be Godzilla raids again. That'll be a few down the line. We'll keep coming back to it every 2 or 3 kind of thing, maybe 4.
Yeah, maybe like one a month of those.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to do. Because I've seen a lot of them, but I haven't seen everyone, and I kind of want to see them all. And we thought it would be fun to work through them over the next year or two. Because there's 28 of them, and that's just the Japanese ones. Well, actually 29 now. I'm forgetting
there was
there's a
the
new
new
one.
one, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's a new one, which I've not seen yet. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Are you going to save that for this?
I think I might as well now.
Oh, cool.
Might as well now.
I mean, we should. You may have got it from the fact that we're covering all the Godzilla movies, but this will not be just good movies.
Now, wait a minute. What are you saying about Godzilla versus Megalon now?
Look, there may be some fun in there, but you cannot defend them all as good.
Yeah, obviously a lot of the Godzilla sequels are more in the goofy territory. This will be a weird mix of good stuff, bad stuff, and by bad I mean so bad it's good kind of territory.
Well, hopefully.
Hopefully, obviously we've not seen them all before, so some stuff might end up being bad. But yeah, it's an excuse to just talk about movies that we watch, and we can pick anything we want to. We can talk about an old horror movie, we can talk about a goofy action movie from the 80s, we can talk about, whatever. Because originally the plan was actually to restrict it to just science fiction, kind of like how we have Screams After Midnight for horror movies. And then we thought, no, why peg it in a hole? We can do as much sci-fi as we want, but we can do other things as well if we want
And
to.
this way, maybe one day, maybe I can make Peter watch a musical. Just one. That's all I want. Pick a good one.
What's the shortest one?
I don't know. I feel like that's you're setting yourself up to hate it more, because just because it's short, it doesn't mean it will feel like it's over quicker.
Now, see, I'm thinking a short film. I'm thinking like 15 minutes.
Oh,
Ideally.
all right, okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of cheating a bit.
Something that's got like an intro, a song, bit in the middle, a song, ending, done, bye.
Feels a little bit cheaty, that one.
Hey.
It's a
Well,
start, maybe baby steps.
A, I've not promised anything. B, even if I did, I'm making sure there's the legal wiggle room to cheat as much as humanly possible. That's my thing.
So basically, what I'm saying here is, if you want Peter to watch a musical, tell us which one.
No. That simple. No. So, yeah, we're going to talk about Godzilla in this first episode. Now, we spent some time introducing the show. Typically, we get into the movie a little bit quicker than this. But Godzilla, 1954, original Japanese movie. This is the original version we watched, not the like Americanized one with the extra scenes kind of shoehorned in. That was that version. So, we've all seen this before, at varying times. I seen this for the first time probably about 10 years ago now.
It was about 3 years ago for me.
It was either in my late teens or maybe just touching 20, something in that range. And I watched it way back then, and I liked it a lot. I've seen a number of the sequels. I've not seen all of them. I've seen a lot of the first chunk, and I've seen all of the last chunk. And by the last chunk, I mean like 1992 to Final Wars. I've seen all the ones in that era. And I've seen a good chunk of the first batch. I haven't seen the third one, which is King Kong versus Godzilla, but I've seen the like 4 of the ones after that, and the middle's kind of hazy.
I've seen literally just this, and I left it at that.
Which is exciting. I can't wait for you to see.
I'm looking forward to it. We all know I'm down for some goofy fun.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, some of them are genuinely good. Some of them are really goofy, and some of them, there's only one or two that I flat out was like, oh my god, that was boring as hell, and I never want to watch it again.
Which is almost impressive in its own right, isn't it? Where you can have two giant monsters fighting as your premise for a film and make it boring.
Two, how naive you are.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm just going at the basics.
I'm pretty sure there's like at one point we get like 7 of them at the same time on screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is the original Godzilla, and this one is they're very different from the rest of them because this is the one where it's not goofy. There's maybe one or two moments where it maybe feels a bit goofy now because it's just it's dated a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't intended to be goofy.
But this is the one where it's treated like a proper film, where it's almost treated like a horror film. Whenever Godzilla's around on screen, it's treated like a menacing, dangerous thing, and obviously the whole movie. And I don't know where. I guess we're just going full spoilers. I don't think a spoiler-free section benefits much here.
Not for this movie. I can't imagine. I feel like you've either seen it at this point or you know what happens. It's not that surprising, is it?
We're going to roughly go through the movie in order, so if you want to like get a sense of some of it before we get to like specific ending details, and I think you're safe in that sense. But yeah, full spoilers otherwise, I think. But yeah, so the movie is very much inspired by a fear of nuclear weapons, which of course for Japan is specifically a very prominent thing because this was only 9 years after the 2 atomic bombs were dropped.
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah, in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And this film is, first of all, like the reason why they think, at least the scientists think Godzilla's awakened in this movie, is because they were doing H-bomb tests underwater. Yeah. So they're blaming the nukes specifically for him coming up. So he's like a metaphor for the destruction that it can cause. But then on top of that, the way they treat all the fallout and like the scenes of like them taking bodies into like makeshift hospitals and the destruction.
I agree, and it goes further than that as well with what's their retaliation. What should be your retaliation and your response to this sort of event?
Yeah, because the scientist who comes up with this new weapon that might be able to do something doesn't want it to be used as a weapon. He's like determined that no, this won't be added to the list of weapons of mass destruction. You
have like a great scene in like a courtroom sort of thing where they're debating what should happen.
Not only that, there's one of the scenes in the courtroom, it's actually just debating, do we let the public know that the H-bomb tests were what caused it? And it's almost kind of eerie how relevant this still is, where you've got the right wing and the left wing, and the right wing are like, no, we can't tell the public, they shouldn't know this, it'll cause panic, and then the left wing are, no, we should tell them, everyone deserves a right to know that this is what caused this. And again, very relevant even today, so no,
definitely.
So all that plays into it, and you really get the sense of when it is these scenes of like sadness after the main attack, because it sort of builds. The movie starts with just like some boats being sunk. You don't get to see what it is, and this is something the film does well, just in terms of filmmaking, where you don't see what's going on. You just see the boats getting a little bit destroyed.
It works because you see the effect of it, and so it builds up an image in your mind of what this is causing.
Yeah. You get it's suspense, it's tension, it's letting your imagination go wild before you see it. And then when we do first see Godzilla, it's just sort of his head, the top half over the hill. He doesn't really do anything, he just kind of goes back into the water. But you get the sense of scale, perhaps, just from the people in the foreground.
Yeah.
And then he kind of pops up again for, like, we'll call it the mini city. Because up until this point, he's just been in the water.
It's very much like a Japanese fishing town, almost.
Yeah, Odo, I think, is the name of the island. It's an island in the coast of Japan. And when he comes into that for the first time, this is when we get the famous shots of him like walking through the power lines and stepping onto the train tracks and all that stuff, which looks great. And I think this movie's obviously in black and white, and I think the black and white helps it a lot in terms of keeping this mystique about him and making him look dark and menacing.
I agree, because it hides any colorations that may have stood out.
Yeah, because I think in the sequels, not the next one, because the next one's in black and white as well, but once you get to the third one, Godzilla looks goofy. And that's not a criticism, it's a guy in a suit, and it's going to look goofy.
Yeah, whereas this, it kind of hides it a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, the only times where I think he looked goofy in this movie, honestly, are when you get a close-up of the head, and you can see the eyes, because the eyes look really fake.
Yeah, that's a fair criticism.
Whereas,
but then you've got to consider for the time, like...
Oh Oh yeah, and it builds to him really well, and all the shots of him, because it's always at night when he's attacking, and you get this great like almost silhouette of the shape of Godzilla, which is a very iconic shape now. There's a reason why it's maintained. There's a reason why there's been 28 damn sequels in American movies.
It's like 60 odd years. More? Yeah, more than 60 years since this has come out, and
63 this year.
Exactly, and it's still just as iconic. There's a reason why.
Yeah, there's a reason why you look at that first American movie and go, "What is this bollocks? He's a giant velociraptor. How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you, Emmerich?
Yeah.
You asshat."
Should we keep on topic to this one and not hate on that too much? We can get to that down the line, maybe.
Yeah, I suppose
if we want to put ourselves through that.
I suppose we should do that when we get to that point in the timeline.
Yeah, I was like, not sure I want to, but maybe we should.
We should. Do you know what? It's not even. I don't want to tangent too much into it, but I will say this: I don't think the first American movie is not good. It's a bad movie, but it's not an unbearably hard to watch movie. It's such a sort of typical American blockbuster that it's easy enough to consume. It's just not a Godzilla movie. Well,
yeah, I think that's the problem, isn't it? It's just not what it's supposed to be.
And it's full of plot holes and stuff, but it's not that there's much worse movies to watch from US big budget stuff.
And I'm sure we're going to watch some of them, let's be honest.
Probably. But it does have one of my favourite lines in cinematic history in it.
Well, save it for then.
I'll save it for then.
Little spoiler, so you can come back in 2.5 years and get the answer.
Oh, yeah. Where was I? Oh yeah, Godzilla rampaging. So we get this like sort of, I'll call it the mini rampage. It feels big enough when it's happening, but the reason why I'm calling it the mini rampage is because the big rampage where he actually goes through Tokyo happens later, and that's when you get these gorgeous shots of the city on fire, and this is when he uses atomic breath for the first time, which is the other thing that looks kind of crummy. Is the atomic breath is just kind of.
I agree, but I think it works because you get it like comes through his back, like you see the light of it first.
Yeah, the back lights up. Yeah.
Yeah, and like so it kind of that kind of makes it work, whereas just the breath itself kind of doesn't.
The breath definitely got better looking as the movies went on because they actually added colour to it and it looked more like a beam of light than it. Whereas here,
this kind of looked like it was just wind almost.
Yeah, it looks like Superman's super breath.
Yeah,
I think, and it's just a limitation of the time, of course. But
I agree. Yeah, but it is the light on the back that kind of signifies it. Oh, that works.
Did you see the 2014 American movie?
I did. Yes.
Okay, I was just curious. I don't want to talk about it because we'll save it for when we get there. But,
yeah, I've seen that one.
I was curious if you'd seen that because I will say the light in the back when that finally happens in that one. The nerdgasm I had in that theater was off the charts. But yeah, no, I was talking about the gorgeous vistas of the city on fire, like burning, and it's lighting up Godzilla. So you were getting this Godzilla walking through the city with the fire behind him. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, and what I love is the music. It treats it as this. It treats it as this devastating thing. It's not a big actiony thing. There's nothing there. It's all just sad.
Yeah, because I think it's in the aftermath of this attack when they're like dealing with the bodies and stuff, and we're seeing the destruction and the people it's harmed. Because there's actually a really dark bit in that scene where there's a mother with her children, and they're trapped wherever Godzilla is about to like use his atomic breath on, and she like says to her children, "We'll be with your father soon. We'll be with your father soon." Yeah. And I'm like, you don't see stuff like that in the later movies because it's more goofy and fun, and you don't want to be depressed.
But yeah, and that's the thing. Like through this rampage, the music is mournful and sorrowful, and it's not what I'm imagining that when it goes on, it's a bit more actiony and fun.
Well, it's funny because the main theme of this movie, which plays at the start, and it plays a couple of other times. I don't know if do you know what I mean when I say the main theme?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to hum it, but I'm not going to. But it's a little bit more heroic sounding.
Yeah.
And I guess here it maybe plays more when the people are doing stuff rather than Godzilla specifically. But that does become Godzilla's theme. Like, because when there's more monsters, he kind of becomes the hero. He's the good one.
Yeah.
And it becomes his, Godzilla's entering the scene, let's play his theme kind of thing.
It's interesting that they twisted to that, isn't it?
Do you know what it is? It's very much like Terminator, where you have the popular one as the villain in the first movie, but then he's really popular, we should make him a hero against the other like something worse, and then that's what happens, and it feels kind of the same thing. But nah, so we get all that, and like I say, gorgeous fire, music's great as well. The main theme's good. Again, it's one of those things where it sounds better a little bit in later films because they re-record it. Obviously, it's a bit older here, and again, product of its time. But
yeah, the recording itself's a little bit rough, but the actual composition and orchestration of it is just great throughout.
Yeah, I really like that. The sort of the melancholy theme that plays when they're dealing with all the bodies and the sort of trying to nurse the survivors back to health. It's the same theme that plays as the scientist Serizawa is going down in the water in the deep dive suit.
Yeah,
and that's a beautiful moment as well.
It is. That's one of my favorite moments of the film, actually. Despite all the actual Godzilla action, it's that very human moment there that I think encapsulates the film for me.
Yeah, because it's him and Ogata are going down, but he's obviously the main one who stays and.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and if you were sticking around, sort of not looking at spoilers yet, here comes the spoilers. So full spoilers from this point on, certainly. He sacrifices himself at the end. He stays down there to make sure Godzilla goes with his oxygen destroyer.
Yes, and I love how well telegraphed it is, and like I think you know it's coming because as soon as they're discussing whether or not he should use the oxygen destroyer, he talks about how even if he destroys all his notes, it's still in his head, and he could be coerced into using it again. The only way it would go was if he died, and he says that, and you kind of just it's there right from there. You know exactly where it's going. I think.
You do. It's almost it's almost a little bit in vain when the final speech of the film is from the Yamane.
Yeah.
The sort of the professor dad who's the father of Emiko, who's engaged to Ogata, who Serizawa was into. So there's some minor like character details like that they bring up, which is actually one of the interesting things about the film is that it doesn't go into the characters' lives at the start of the movie to build them up before stuff happens. Stuff happens, and then we learn about them because they're involved in what's happening.
Yeah, because obviously we get the scene with the boats, and then it cuts to Ogata and Emiko.
But I was going to say, because in the final scene, he talks about how, who knows how many of those things were down there. There could be more Godzillas, and I'm like, maybe you should have told that to him before he, offed himself with the only knowledge of this bomb that could kill it.
Might have been helpful, mightn't it?
Oh dear. But, no, so yeah, actually, I want to talk about one really cool moment with the family. It's when they're all kind of down. It's just after Emiko's went and found out about the oxygen destroyer. And she comes home, and everyone's kind of like not melancholy, but it's a sort of dampening evening. That they're not in a great mood, and this is before the first city attack.
Yeah,
and I love how this city attack actually starts because she comes home, she makes some small talk with Ogata, and then her father comes out, and he comes down and sits down, and there's a good 30 seconds that passes where they're just kind of sitting there for the evening. There's no music, it's quiet. To the point where, on a first-time watch, you might be thinking, what's the point of this scene now? It's just quiet. And then the alarm starts going off.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of genius because it shows that it's just a quiet, normal night where they're all just sitting around the table.
It puts you so in their mindset. They're not expecting it. It's like it's on our mind, it's on theirs that it's going around, like it's done something. But it's not. They don't feel in danger. Yeah,
because up until this point, and even past this point, Yamane, Emiko's father, doesn't want to kill Godzilla. He's like, well, think of the possibilities for studying this. Everyone else is, and this is almost another part of the message, is that everyone else is immediately like, let's kill it. How can we kill it? Let's kill it as quickly as possible. Whereas he's like, no, let's study it. It may be the only one of its kind. We should analyze it and see why is it this way. What can we learn from it? Perhaps the right attitude, but it's obviously after the city attack, especially the second city attack, the big one in Tokyo with the fire. Once that happens, it's like, yeah, okay, there's no arguing about this now. This Godzilla needs to get put down. But that's another theme that plays throughout the movie, and adds a lot of weight to it. Because I spoke about how the shots of the city, Godzilla himself, the fire, how beautiful that is, how beautiful the moment getting in the water is, and we see Godzilla in there as the scientists are lowering down. the beauty and the weight are the two main things that are kind of missing from a. Now, I don't want to speak for all of the sequels because we might encounter some beauty, but certainly I can't think of any of the ones that I've seen where there's moments like those where I'm in awe of what's happening. It's because in the later one, just like, oh, here's a monster 1, here's monster 2, oh, they're going to go down. It's more like watching a wrestling event where you're excited about them.
Yeah, that's my impression of all of them. It's like, oh, let's have fun with like a versus.
Yeah.
Whereas it's a warning and a message. Whereas I'm not sure the others actually have that, from what I gather.
I don't think they do particularly. Again, I'm going from memory here. It's been quite a number of years since I've seen a lot of the sequels, but no, this is what's really unique to this first one. It's what makes this first one, to get a little pretentious sounding, a proper like artistic film, whereas the rest are great movies, fun movies, but this is the one there's a reason why this spawned what it did.
Yeah, and there's a reason why this has stood the test of time, and people look to this movie. Whereas I don't think anyone looks to the sequels.
Yeah, not in
the same way.
Yeah, not in that way. And it's why every so often they reboot it and they try and make Godzilla darker again and give him the menace again. One of the ones that I've not seen is Return of Godzilla, or Godzilla 1984, it's called. I've not seen that one. That one's meant to be like a sort of dark return to form for him. But I've not seen it. I've always wanted to. But it was it was very hard to get a hold of for a long time with English subs, actually.
Right.
Because the rights were all tight. It was one of these weird things where Toho, that owns Godzilla, had sold the rights to, like, the VHS rights for one country were this company, VHS rights for this other country were them, the TV rights for X country was with them, VHS was with them, Laserdisc was with, like, it was so tangled that they had to wait until it all reset. I think it was 2015 where it finally reset so they could actually give the rights out again.
Yeah, and get proper releases.
Because no one actually knew who technically owned the rights to, say, release a DVD.
So they just went, well, no one's going to be able to do it then.
Yeah, basically. So they had to wait for everything to reset. And so, which is why I never got around to seeing that one. But yeah, Godzilla's... Do you want to talk about some plot elements, some other plot details? If there's anything that we've not touched on?
I really like the way how after they kind of find out what Godzilla is and they start attacking it with, everything they've got. Yeah,
machine guns, cannons, whatever the...
Yeah, they take the bomber planes and drop stuff on it, and I think that's a really interesting thing because it's their immediate reaction is to this nuclear event, which is what, for all intents and purposes, Godzilla is to fight back immediately. And just throw everything they've got at it. And I think that's an interesting parallel to, obviously, what their message is ultimately, which is maybe that's not the best course of action.
Oh, yeah, it's like they immediately respond with violence, and that's maybe not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and obviously all that does, as they point out, is encourage Godzilla to come and attack more.
Yeah, because at one point, the professor even says, don't point your lights at it, it'll just
make it angrier, yeah.
You're just antagonising them. And that's maybe what makes Godzilla go on more of these rampages.
Yeah, and maybe it's saying, don't shoot the guy with the bigger gun.
Yeah.
Try something else.
And even when he says, there could be more of these because people all over the planet will be testing H-bombs and stuff, like, it's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
And it's just a kind of sense of, let's stop with the stupid arms race, because if Godzilla's a metaphor for what can happen when we try to keep up in the ante, it's just going to get worse.
Destroy all of us. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's clearly the moral of the story, which you don't typically get in monster movies, so it's really nice to get it in.
You don't. I think that's why this one has stood the test of time, because it has such a strong message that, of course, was very timely with its own culture as well. But that's why it's so, because it's a warning for everyone. Sure, it was Japan that was affected the most, but it works for every country.
That's why I think it's important that it's Japan that made it.
I agree.
Because they are the ones who felt the effects.
It's personal for them, whereas to everyone else, we see it, but we didn't feel it like that.
Yeah. We can see images, we can see the horror of it, but we didn't. Yeah. We can't just drive so many miles and see the crater.
This movie could only have come out of Japan following those events. Yeah. There is no other way this could have come out.
It's actually it's strange to think just how close it actually was. I mean, only 9 years after.
It was almost like it was a coping mechanism. Like, how do we deal with this? How do we cope with this as a country? And the filmmakers were like, well, let's channel it into this.
Yeah. So, no, I love Godzilla. If that's not clear, like if we're not being positive enough, it's fantastic.
Phenomenal film.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Obviously, we're saying about how the characters aren't like the most super in depth. We don't get tons of stuff for the characters, because I feel like there's large portions of the film where we leave what we would consider the core group of characters and just focus on, oh, Godzilla's rampaging to the city, so we just follow him, or we follow the army doing their thing.
Yeah, the military doing their stuff. Yeah. That happens quite a bit.
Yeah, so we leave them for extended periods of time. It doesn't feel the need to do what a lot of like modern American movies that are either disaster movies or monster movies, where the main characters have to have some sort of arc where they're having.
Even the 2014 Godzilla.
It did, and it's not necessarily criticism. I'm not saying that's always a bad thing.
It's a product of the times, I think.
Yeah, but this didn't feel the need to do that. There is a little bit of, okay, so Agata and Emiko are wanting to get married, and they've not told the scientists.
Yeah, they want the permission to get married and like the blessing and all that.
So there's a little bit. There's just enough there to make you care, to make them feel like they are real people. But when we go to them, we don't focus on this stuff. We focus on why they're involved and what are they doing. And
I think that actually really works in its benefit, because it is this idea that, this stuff is important to them, but this is affecting everyone and their own personal problems. Just they go on hold. It doesn't matter. I think you see it even instantly before it's Godzilla and all that, and he gets called into work because of these sinking ships. And she's like, I'd love to spend time with you, but it's work. You've got to go. And it's that kind of throughout the film where, we want to do these things, but there are bigger problems. There are other people at stake.
Yeah, and it treats it that way, and it keeps them. So it gives you enough to make you care that they're real people, because they do have, they have wants and they have needs. And obviously, the professor's character, not wanting to kill Godzilla, makes him different from everyone else and a bit more relatable. He's got this conscience that the other characters maybe don't have yet.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it keeps them toned down enough that they very easily represent everyone in the country.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't feel like, this is just these specific people. No, I'm sure you could almost take each of them and go, no, there's like people who are going to argue this in every group, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean, where they say they kind of forget about their own personal issues and just help everyone else. It's like the same how you have to imagine in Japan after these events, everyone pulled together and nothing mattered except that.
Yeah. So no, that's Godzilla.
Yeah.
It's great. It's fantastic. It's classic.
There's how much can we say that hasn't been said already?
This is almost the problem with reviewing some of these like big classics. If we're doing them, is that it's like, it's daunting, because like people have been writing and
there's full like academic papers on these movies.
Oh yeah, there is. I'm sure there's a dissertation that's 20,000 words long. Exactly. Talking about this. Hell, there's a film critic on the Blu-ray doing a commentary track. I might listen to that later and get them get schooled on stuff that I didn't know about.
Make us feel stupid.
Yeah, exactly. But the point of this though is not for us to do tons of research and drop you with trivia that you don't know. That's really not the point of this. The point of this is, how does this affect us as a modern audience from our perspectives? Do the themes come across? How does the filmmaking work today? Does it work? Is it entertaining?
I think that's an important point there. It has a great message, but it has to function as a film, as entertainment. And otherwise it would have got lost. And I think it clearly does, because we can watch this and it is such an enjoyable movie to watch. And it's beautiful at times, like we said. And I think that's what has kept it around and made it worth talking about even now.
It's haunting.
It is.
And that's if a movie can be haunting, if it can feel that way, then it's evoking a great sense of emotion that a lesser film can. Yeah. So that's Godzilla, or Gojira, to butcher the Japanese pronunciation. But yeah, that's Godzilla. That's our first 121 in Flux. I hope that was enjoyable. Chances are, if you're watching this though, you've probably seen our other content that we do. As far as this show goes as well, it'll probably be me and Connor mostly, but sometimes Matt will jump in, sometimes maybe even Tim will jump in. You see them on the other shows. Matt does all the other 121 stuff for the modern movies. So there might be a slight rotation to the cast per se, but it'll be ongoing. And like I say, we'll be doing all kinds of different movies, kind of whatever we want to. You can suggest movies, although don't feel bad if we don't get to them for a while.
It's quite a list for us to work through already.
Yeah, and typically the movies that interest us for variation, either because it looks good, or because it looks fun bad, or because it's
there's a good handful that are just because we own and haven't bothered to watch yet, and we want an excuse to watch them.
That is also true. There is an element of that, so it'll be random and wonderful. I can tell you though, coming up, we are going to work our way through all the Alien movies before Alien Covenant comes out, so that you can definitely expect all those
in the next 4 months, give or take. 3 months.
3.5 now, yeah, but
I'm really bad with months.
Clearly.
It's just one of those things. I'm not good with months.
Clearly. So as much as getting a Godzilla movie a month or so, you'll probably get an Alien movie a month or so for the next few. So look forward to that. So yeah, let us know what you thought of Godzilla if you've seen it. If you've not seen it, please do so. You owe it to yourself. It is fantastic. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot if you do. Keep watching movies. Check out all the other content on the channel. Movie content, horror movie content. I mean, obviously, me and Connor do all the TV reviews. You can check out those. But nah, that's very much us. So thank you very much for watching, guys. This has been the first 121 in Flux. Keep watching movies, and we'll see you next time.